Welcome back to another ZAGSBLOG Zoom series interview. I'm Jacob Polachek, and today I'm joined by class of 2021 five-star basketball commit Jalen Warley. Warley is a 6'4" combo guard from Westtown School in Westchester, Pennsylvania, committed to Florida State. He's ranked by 247sports.com as the number 3 combo guard and the number 22 overall prospect in the class of 2021. With his commitment to Florida State on August 9th, he gave the Seminoles the number 1 ranked class in 2021. Jalen, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for coming on. So where are you joining us from, Jay?
I'm doing it from my house in Aston, PA.
Nice. And so let's get into things. I want to start off by talking about your commitment to Florida State. I know you had a long list of schools that were recruiting you throughout the past couple of years with
Louisville, Memphis, Miami, Maryland, Virginia, Oregon, LSU, Florida State, Michigan, and Ohio State.
But you ultimately decided to commit to Florida State. So what was it about the Seminoles that separated them from the rest of your list?
Yeah, during the process, I built really great relationships with the whole coaching staff and the players that were already committed there. So I just really felt at home, and I felt, it's a really difficult time with the pandemic and all that, but I felt comfortable enough to make that decision, which was really impactful for me without visiting the campus. So I'm just grateful for the relationship I was able to develop, and that's ultimately the reason why I decided to go there.
So you mentioned the pandemic and not being able to take visits. So how much of a factor did your Zoom meetings with head coach Leonard Hamilton and the rest of the staff play in your decision?
Yeah, no, I think the Zoom meetings definitely played a factor, but I think ultimately it was like the phone calls and the constant text messages when it's just one-on-one and individual kind of just allowed me to understand them as people, and kind of the basketball side I kind of already had a good understanding of kind of what I was stepping myself into, but getting to know them as people off the court was definitely a really big factor for me.
And before we get into this number 1 recruiting class that you guys have over there at Florida State, for those that haven't seen you play, what kind of player can Florida State fans expect?
I think I bring a lot of versatility. I think I'm able to play on and off the ball. I bring a winning mentality coming from a powerhouse program out of PA, so I've been able to play at the highest level, and I look at myself as a guy that people want to play with, a floor general, and someone who can really get their teammates involved.
You're joining a Florida State recruiting class that features four stars Matthew Cleveland, Bryce McGowan, and John Butler, as well as a top 5 JUCO prospect in Naheem McLeod. Have you been in touch with those guys since your commitment? What's your relationship like with those guys?
Yeah, I've been in touch with them prior to my commitment and after my commitment, kind of just touching base, getting to know them better as people, kind of just talking about how excited we are just to all be on the same team, and especially because on the court, our basketball abilities kind of complement each other and will push each other. So we're just really super excited, and just waiting to get on campus and, get better every single day.
And so how good do you think that this Florida State 2021 recruiting class could be? What do you think the ceiling is?
Yeah, no, I don't think there is a ceiling, honestly. I think we have a lot of highly rated players now, but I also think there's a lot of room for improvement in each of our games, let alone what we can do together as a unit. And I think we bring a lot of size, a lot of length, and a winning mentality. I feel like all of us in the class are underrated competitors. I think we compete at the highest level, and we play really hard. So I don't think we have a ceiling, honestly. I think the sky's the limit.
And so even with that number 1 class, Florida State's not done recruiting. They're in the running for a number of 2021 guys, including 5-star Michael Foster, who just included Florida State in his cut list. Have you been in touch with him at all, or are there any other guys in that 2021 class that you're working to recruit to join you at Florida State?
No, I haven't been in personal contact with him, but I've been talking to the coaching staff, kind of just staying on the same page on what our as a team now, what our goals are for the rest of the 2021 recruiting class. And I've been recruiting my teammate, 2022 Derek Lively, who's on my Westtown team, very hard since he picked up a Florida State offer during the pandemic. So I've been kind of in his ear telling him about how great the staff is and how great of a program it is.
And so, assume Derek is watching this right now. What's your pitch to him to join you at Florida State? Just give him your pitch right now.
Yeah, I mean, I know he's probably annoyed because of how many times I tried to give him a pitch, but just to know that he's going to be able to compete at the highest level and play against some of the best teams in the country, and that I know personally we have a pretty good connection in terms of pick and rolls and catching lobs. So if he's watching this, just know he'll make sure to catch a bunch of lobs if he comes down to Tallahassee.
Nice. So now that your recruitment process is over, now that it's all said and done, reflecting back, what were some of your favorite parts of the whole recruiting process?
Personally, I mean, I enjoyed the whole recruiting process. I think personally, I was able to kind of see both sides of it. Initially, when first 2021s were first able to be contacted on the date, I didn't really see too much contact. And then fast forward to the pandemic, I was constantly talking to coaches and constantly on the phone. So I just think like I was able to see both sides of the recruitment process and just be very grateful for all the opportunities and all the different coaches that took the time to recruit me and show me their program and kind of just continuing to meet new people. And I mean, that's what it's all about. So just keeping those relationships and talking to some really great people and great coaches.
And on the inverse of that, what were some of the things that frustrated you the most about the whole recruiting process? This is really your time to vent about anything that annoyed you or just bothered you about the whole process.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have too much to complain about. It's unfortunate that, I mean, you can only go to one school just because of all the different relationships I developed. And it was just it's not, I mean, it's what I like to describe as it's a good problem to have when you're really deciding between those schools. And I mean, it was a really hard decision for me. I really had to dig deep and rely on the people around me. So, I mean, the only bad part about the recruitment process was just how hard I had to pick through these schools and to make an ultimate decision.
So given that you took the time to make that decision, having gone through it yourself, what advice would you give to a student athlete that's about to go through the recruiting process themselves?
Yeah, no, I would just say to stay true to themselves and to not let anybody rush their timeline, honestly. I feel like, I mean, my class is in a completely different state because of the whole pandemic, but I just feel like rushing the process will always leave the opportunity for mess ups or mistake. And I just think staying true to yourself and kind of moving at your own pace has always been something big for me. So that'd be my biggest advice, just to not let any outside noise or anybody else's opinion kind of rush your decision, because ultimately it's going to be a hard one.
And on the topic of outside noise, less than a week before committing, you put out a tweet with a photo of Michael Jordan from The Last Dance, where you wrote, "Me reading all of these analyst predictions of where I'm committing."
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on the constant recruiting predictions that are being made on the internet, specifically now with 24/7 Sports Crystal Ball being so popular?
Yeah, no, I mean, I have to understand that that's people's profession, but it's just one of those things where like you, ever since picking up a basketball, you dream of committing and playing at the highest level, and being able to announce that to the world is kind of something like really special to you and something that like you hope to kind of remember for a long time. So I mean, to say that they ruined my decision would just would be inaccurate. I just think it took a little bit away from it. But at the end of the day, like I found out that I'm going to the right school and that I'm still happy with my decision. All that it was just a little bit frustrating to see. But I mean, I'm an understanding person, so I get that that's their livelihood. But something I kind of just want to throw a little bit of a curveball and kind of just keep people on the edge with my recruitment and kind of just have some fun with it. Honestly, I mean, I didn't think about it in a negative way. Like I wasn't really ever upset about it. I kind of just they were having fun just like I was. So can't complain.
So based on your observations throughout the process, how do you think that media members and journalists can improve in their coverage of high school recruiting and players' decisions?
I think I actually don't think to take away crystal balls. I'm not too much against it. I think for people that rely on 247 or any like type of crystal ball or anything like that, I think to kind of just explain more why you put the crystal ball in, because I feel like if you're able to explain to people who are tuning in and relying on you as a source, you should tell them why you think that whatever player is going to a specific school and why you think it's going to work, it's not going to work. Kind of just going in more depth, not just kind of just kind of putting out a guess. Because I mean, at least I saw with my process, I know that 18 analysts didn't just magically guess 1 out of the 10 schools. So I could think they had an idea of not only like my play style and they might have had sources or whatever, but kind of just giving everybody who relies on them, explaining why that they think that that player is going to that school. So I mean it's a very small adjustment, but it's just, I think, something to add into the whole recruitment process.
And you're a guy that's rated as a 5-star prospect. You're a potential first-round draft prospect in the next few years. So given that, is there any NBA team that you've always dreamed of playing for, or a team that you grew up watching?
I mean, locally the Sixers, but I don't think I ever really dreamed about playing for a team. It's always just kind of been, I've always been competing with myself, and just to be able to say that I got drafted to an NBA team has always been my goal by itself, let alone any team that is willing to draft me, I'd be happy to play for. But so that's always kind of just been my goal, is to get there, not specifically to a certain team. So
Has there been any one moment in your basketball career thus far where you had that realization of, wow, I could have a future in this sport potentially and maybe do it for a living one day?
I don't think there was one specific moment. I think this season was really helpful for me, and just being able to kind of just go from being like the hunter to the hunted, kind of just really opened up my eyes. And for us as a team, we went from playing against a lot of top teams to a lot of teams who were not as skilled as us, really hunting for us, and really giving us some really good games, and kind of being like being something that they're hunting for. So it was just it was kind of like that realization of like the switch flipping this year, just kind of just realizing what position we were as a team and the position I am as a person.
So now heading into your senior season, what are some of your goals, and really what are some of the things that you hope to accomplish before you go out to Florida State?
Yeah, I mean, I really want to have an undefeated season. I think not only do we have a good enough team, but we have enough experience on the team where those end of game or those close games, we have enough to pull out all of those games. So I just feel like we have a really good opportunity to go undefeated. I think personally, I think I kind of just want to keep doing what I'm doing and building off of last year. I don't have any really like statistical goals or anything like that. I kind of just want to make sure I stay true to myself, and I just want to keep improving every day. I mean, that's the biggest thing for me, just constant development. So there's no real certain statistical goal. I mean, the only thing I want to do is go undefeated and win a state championship.
Now, before we wrap up, I just want to ask about your life off the court. People may know the basketball player Jalen Warley, but what can you tell them about the person you are off the court?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a people's person, so I mean, I love to constantly talk to people, get to know them, being in social situations. I mean, not only my teammates, but some of my closest friends. I mean, I just love, having a good time, joking around and all that. So I mean, I just kind of see myself as someone who likes to constantly be around people and talk to people. So yeah, I mean, that's usually like the type of person that people describe me as. So.
And what are some of your hobbies off the court?
Yeah, so I really enjoy making time for my sister. I mean, doing a lot of things with her in terms of like drawing, painting, or whatever her hobby is. I kind of just latch on to it and play the big brother role. I like to draw a lot. Not too good at it, but it's something that I enjoy to do, especially when I'm like by myself or have free time and all that. I love to play video games with my friends. Something I definitely enjoy, especially sports games. Just I love to another way to compete somehow. Just to constantly just be a competitor and all that. So that's usually what I do with my free time, since most of it is taken up by school and basketball and with my family. So that's about it.
Now, for my last question, I just want to ask, what's one thing about you, basketball or otherwise, that people don't really know? Just what do you want to let the people know?
Hmm. I think people have a pretty good idea about me as a basketball player. Um, yeah, I don't know one thing in specific, because that I would really want everybody to know besides I mean, I guess as a player, just kind of like the competitor that I am, and how much I compete just when it's on the court or off the court, or even like little things just in everyday life. I'm just constantly competing with everybody around me, and I just love to have a good time and have fun. So that's pretty much about it.
Well, Jalen, thank you for joining me. Before we go, where can people find you on social media?
On Instagram, it's just my name, Jalen Warley. And then on Twitter, it's just JJ and then Warley. So those are my two main social medias that I use.
Well, thank you again for joining me. It was great having you on, and excited to watch you play next year at Westtown and in the future at Florida State.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.